My name is Margaret, and that night started like any other ordinary evening, but it ended as one I'll never forget. It was a chilly Friday in late October, and I had been looking forward to dinner with my son, Daniel, and his wife, Emily. They'd just moved into their new home, and I wanted to see how they were settling in. I locked up my house around 6, checked the windows, and made sure the back door was secure, something I always did out of habit. I lived alone since my husband passed away 3 years ago, but I wasn't afraid of solitude. My house was my safe place, full of memories and comfort. When I arrived at Daniel's, we laughed, shared a good meal, and for a few hours, I forgot how empty my house could feel sometimes. Then, around 9 o'clock, my phone rang. I saw my cleaning lady's name flash on the screen, Maria. She never called that late. I excused myself and answered, thinking she might have forgotten something from earlier that day. But her voice was shaking. "Mrs. Parker," she whispered urgently, "someone is in your house." My heart stopped. "What? Maria, are you sure?" I asked, gripping the phone tightly. "Yes," she said, her voice trembling. "I came back because I thought I left the vacuum plugged in. When I walked in, I heard footsteps upstairs. Heavy ones. I felt the blood drain from my face. Get out, Maria." "Don't stay there," I said quickly. "Go outside and call the police." She hesitated for a second. "I think he heard me," she whispered, then the line went dead. Panic surged through me. I ran back inside to tell Daniel. "Call 911, I gasped. "Someone's in my house." Within minutes, Daniel and I were speeding down the road, following the flashing lights of a police car already heading that way. Every second felt like an eternity. When we arrived, Maria was standing on the sidewalk, wrapped in a blanket one of the neighbors had given her. She looked terrified. "He was still inside," she said as I approached. I ran out when I heard the floor creak. The officers went in cautiously. We waited in the cold night air, the blue and red lights reflecting off the windows. After what felt like forever, one of them came back out. "No one's here now," he said, "but someone definitely was." He showed us a back window that had been forced open, the lock snapped clean off. Inside, drawers had been pulled out, closets opened, but oddly, nothing seemed stolen. My jewelry was still there, my safe untouched. It didn't make sense. "Maybe he got scared when Maria came in," one officer said. "We'll dust for prints and patrol the area tonight." I thanked them, though my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Daniel insisted I stay the night at his place, but something in me needed to know what had happened. The next morning, I went back to the house with the police report still fresh in my hand. As I walked through the rooms, something felt off. A picture frame on the hallway table had been moved. It was a photo of me, Daniel, and my husband from years ago, our last vacation together before he passed. I picked it up and noticed something behind it, a small folded piece of paper. My heart pounded as I opened it. In shaky handwriting, it said, "You're not safe here. He's coming back." My stomach dropped. I immediately called the police again, and they arrived within minutes. They searched every inch of the house and surrounding property but found nothing else. No new prints, no sign of forced entry this time. The detective, a tall, calm man named Harris, looked at me seriously. "Mrs. Parker," he said, "this wasn't a random break-in. Whoever was here knew the house, and knew you." That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the note, those haunting words. The next day, I decided to check something for myself. In the attic, my husband had kept boxes of old documents, bank statements, work files, even some personal journals. As I sorted through them, I found one labeled, "Private," for Margaret if anything happens to me. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside were several letters, all dated around the time he had retired. They described how he had once discovered financial misconduct at his company and had reported it. He wrote that someone had threatened him afterward, warning him to stay quiet or pay the price. My husband had brushed it off as corporate nonsense, but now, years later, it all seemed connected. I showed the letters to Detective Harris. He looked concerned. "If what your husband wrote is true, someone might still think he had something they want, something he hid," he said. We went through the house together again, and in the back of a closet in my husband's study, Harris found a false wall panel. Behind it was a small metal box containing a USB drive and old company documents. Evidence, maybe, of whatever he had exposed years ago. Harris took it for investigation and promised to keep me updated. Weeks later, he called. "You were right to be scared," he said. "Your husband's old company is under investigation now. That drive had proof of fraud involving millions of dollars. Someone must have thought he still had it, and came looking. They never caught the intruder, but after that night, no one ever came back. I moved in with Daniel for good. Sometimes I still wake up from nightmares of footsteps on the stairs or a phone ringing in the dark, but I remind myself of one thing: Maria's bravery saved my life. If she hadn't called, I might have come home early that night, and things could have ended very differently. Now, whenever I think of my husband, I like to believe he was still protecting me in his own way, even years after he was gone. Because maybe that warning, 'You're not safe here,' wasn't from a stranger at all. Maybe it was from him."